Hello and welcome back to the Tima Ballers podcast. I'm glad to have you all here, and today I've got our usual guest, Emin, the Arsenal fan, and also this time we've got a special guest, friend of ours, Maxime.
Well, last podcast, episode 2, I was on it, featured as an Arsenal fan. I would love to say thank you to all the international fans tuning from all around the world. We're getting so much love. And yeah, it's just great to be back here on the set with Tima Baller, with Maxime, the Chelsea fan. And yeah, very good.
Yeah, thank you for having me as well. Chelsea fan over here.
Yeah, so obviously, look, we've just finished the second week of the Premier League. The action is all getting started. So let's first begin with the first major match. Brighton and Manchester United. Manchester United bottling it at Brighton. Last minute winner. Conceded again. Boys, it's always saying Manchester United absolute rubbish.
What can I say? Brighton, of course, they had the influence from Trossard. He was there before. He rubbed onto the club and just showed them how to batter United, of course, as we've done multiple times. But yeah, Brighton, interestingly, second in the league, but soon to be below us.
Yeah, I think obviously Manchester United, with all the promise of Erik ten Hag, they've made these signings. They've brought in a lot of promising players like Lenny Yoro, who is injured. They also had Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Joshua Zirkzee. But unfortunately, always did not come good in the Man United game against Brighton. Well, I mean, look, very strangely, Maguire started the game. Very, very strange decision. For some reason, De Ligt was on the bench. Joshua Zirkzee was also on the bench. And unfortunately, they did not have an impact enough. Very, very curious incident happened where basically Garnacho was about to score a tap-in. It was an open goal. And he hit Zirkzee, who was on the line offside. It's the most bizarre offside ever. It's an absolutely hilarious story, that is. I've honestly never seen an offside like that. I've never seen a player, your own attacker, basically block the shot. Like, that's literally what happened.
What can you say? United on the downfall. Sad to see.
It is. Well, I mean, as a Liverpool fan, not really, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Next, we also got Crystal Palace against West Ham. West Ham with a 2-0 win. Soucek and Bowen on the score sheet. I mean, I think West Ham have won this transfer window. They've had the best transfer window with the best players. They've signed Fulkrug. They've signed some phenomenal players as well, like Todibo. I mean, what can I say? What a transfer window. What a result.
It's a shame, though. One of my favourite players, Paqueta. Very, very interesting stuff going on with him over there. You know, doing some gambling, illegal stuff, but very good player, very phenomenal player in the Brazilian squad. A Brazilian icon in the Premier League, but, you know. And also Crystal Palace losing, of course, Elise, going to Bayern Munich. How do you feel about that, Mr. Tima Baller?
Yeah, I mean, I think in my opinion, Michael Olise was too good for Crystal Palace. And no disrespect to Crystal Palace, but the fact is, he's a top-class player, just had too many injury problems. And I think Bayern is exactly where he's suited to be in terms of his caliber. And not only that, Crystal Palace are really in trouble because one of their best defenders, Anderson, has also left. So it's a very strange situation here with Crystal Palace where two of their best players have left. We're also hearing that there might be a case of Mark Gay moving on, which would be a disaster for them. So, I mean, Crystal Palace, a little bit concerned, to be fair, for them.
Might be relegation for them soon.
No, definitely not relegation, but I think they could be... I mean, they could be going down, to be fair. Not going down as into the Championship, but I definitely think that they might be underperforming. We also got Fulham beating Leicester City 2-1. Emil Smith-Rowe, the former Arsenal player. I mean, look at this, guys.
That's a passionate subject.
Hear me out. Arsenal, Arteta, disrespecting Smith-Rowe, putting him on the bench, not giving him the minutes. Emil Smith-Rowe moves on to Fulham. He's scored a goal. He's done one pre-season. Arsenal fan, what do you have to say about this?
Well, this is actually very, very sad for me because Emil Smith-Rowe was one of the people that got me into the club, man. Just fell in love with his style, a phenomenal player, and I can't believe it. Arteta, a very big mistake. I don't like to criticize Arteta a lot because he's a very smart, very brilliant manager, of course, better than that. Whoever that is, Unai Emery, I don't know. But Smith-Rowe, man, what a failure from Arteta. You should have kept him. We're struggling on the midfield, and man, Smith-Rowe, just wish him the best, man, because he was just a star for our team.
I mean, the question is, how high will Emil Smith-Rowe go with Fulham? Do you think he will have a sensational season to the level where he might be considered for team of the season, or do you think he will just have a decent season?
Look, team of the season, that's a very crazy aspiration for him right now because, of course, we have such great legends such as Cole Palmer, such as Martin Odegaard, but I feel like he will be a club legend. Just in the short time he's been there, scored, how many times has he scored? He's had, a goal per game? Just very, very phenomenal numbers from Emil Smith-Rowe, and I feel just like when he's on the ball, he's just a talent on the ball.
Yep, and also then we got Manchester City beating Ipswich Town 4-1. It's an interesting game because first Schmodix from Ipswich Town scored on the 7th minute, but then Man City in typical fashion in the space of 5 minutes managed to make it 3-1 and then Haaland finished off his hat-trick. What do we have to say about this? Are Man City going to win again? Because right now what I'm seeing is they played Chelsea, completely bossed them out the park, 2-0 win at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea fan, what are your thoughts actually on that game? Like that 2-0 loss at Stamford Bridge to Man City, like is that one of those games where you're like, it's fine, we'll take a loss, we know I've got other games? Or are you actually quite frustrated at that?
I feel like at the beginning of the league, Man City tends to perform quite well, especially with players like Haaland playing really well, and closer to the end of the season, playing a little bit less. But I think that's one of those matches where we went up against the champion winners from last season, so it was kind of expected that they would either win or we'd draw. I think we could take this loss, but I think from more recent games, I think there's definitely potential for us to improve in the future.
Well, look, everyone gasses up City. Everyone loves to just make them out what they're not. Ipswich Town, what is this, bro? Just a recently promoted team, 4-1. You would have thought they would beat Real Madrid 4-1 the way these very not so intellectual fans, Man City fans, are talking about this game.
I would disagree because I think Man City, 2 wins, top of the league. They've scored 6 goals in 2 games. Erling Haaland, I don't understand the disrespect this man gets. He's easily the best striker in the world, top 5 players in the world. And yet for some reason you've got these self-proclaimed football experts proclaiming that he's just mediocre, he's a tap-in merchant. Roy Keane even called him a League 2 striker. That's crazy. League 2 striker,
Well,
Erling Haaland.
We have to look at the statistics here. He's been absolutely pocketed by many people,
No,
such
he's
as
not. No,
Gabriel
he's
and Saliba. We can see the footage. Saliba absolutely bounced him off. He was crying. He was sent in a stretcher. We know how it goes. Saliba, best defender in the world, but he absolutely bodied Haaland. And maybe Roy Keane is right. He is a tap-in merchant. And City soon going to get exposed for the 115 charges and going to get sent down to League 2 where he belongs.
Well, apologies for the massive bias coming from the Arsenal fan. Of course, it's all passion on the... As I said, this podcast is about the football fan view. And of course, we respect Arsenal fans' opinions, although I take a different opinion. Look, Manchester City, phenomenal achievement what they've done. Erling Haaland, a phenomenal talent.
Very mediocre, in my opinion.
There's nobody in the world with his finishing. He's a poacher in the box. Football's not about what kind of goals you score. It's about goals. It doesn't matter if you scored a tap-in, a penalty, a free kick. It doesn't matter. What matters is he scores goals and he gets his team points. That's what matters. He's always there. He's scoring goals. And this whole criticism that, oh, he doesn't score goals in the big games. He scored 52 goals in his first season. Last season, he got Golden Boot. The man gives numbers. I don't understand how we cannot credit that.
The man gives numbers, maybe against Ipswich, but against real competition like Arsenal, he is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, obviously.
And closer to the end of the league as well.
Exactly.
If we go back to not last season but the season before, obviously Erling Haaland scoring against Liverpool, scoring against Arsenal as well in that 4-1 and 3-1 defeats of yours when you lost to Man City, and Erling Haaland played a role in that. But going next to the Southampton-Nottingham Forest game, again, not much to comment. Southampton recently promoted. I had them in 20th place. I just feel like, look, they barely made it into the Premier League. I don't think they've got a great squad. I think some of their best players like James Ward-Prowse led before. So personally for me, Southampton going straight back down. Nottingham Forest are in all sorts of mess. I think I don't really believe in Nuno Espirito de Santo. I think the squad has holes in it. They had some injuries. I'm just not buying into this whole project. They tried to sign 30 players in their first window. They're going by quantity rather than quality. So it's really a case of if they keep Morgan Gibbs-White, I think he's got an immense talent. So if he leaves, they're in massive trouble. So, alright, let's now move on because we've got some very big games coming up. First of all, Tottenham Hotspur beating Everton 4-0. Now, Arsenal fan, we know that you're better than Spurs. Obviously,
Of course we are.
You were massively better than last year. You beat them at their stadium. But do you not feel that Tottenham are on an upward trajectory?
Well, as I said for Man City, you beat Everton. This is not like beating Real Madrid. This is very easy work. If you didn't beat Everton 4-0, that's a very bad sign. And look, Tottenham will always be in a downward trajectory because where have they gone up to? No trophies, no nothing, no history, absolutely in the mud.
Let me be honest. Similar to City, they always start off quite well at the beginning of the season and then drop off kind of later on. So I feel like we're seeing a similar trend this year, like we've seen in previous years.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree here in terms of Ange Postecoglou. Last season came in, the first 10 games he was phenomenal, and obviously you guys absolutely obliterated them 4-1. And then since then, Spurs have been very shaky. Defensively, they've got some top players like Romero and Van de Ven, but there's just something about that team that doesn't gel. I think it might come down to the fact that Ange Postecoglou focuses too much on attack. He doesn't put enough emphasis on making the midfield gel. And that's actually an interesting point in football, is that it doesn't matter how good your starting lineup is. It's not really about individual players. It's about getting those individual players to work. And credit, for instance, to Arsenal is to take these individuals and make them to work in a team with a style of play. I think is very commendable. And that's something that obviously Tottenham will have to implement this year in order to challenge for the top four.
Yeah, we'll also have to work on that as well.
Well, look, Tottenham in the top four doesn't really ring bells for me.
It doesn't last for too long either.
Doesn't last. I mean, when have they won anything? They're absolute bottlers. Well, what can we say? Beating Everton 4-0 is not an achievement you should be celebrating. It's just an absolute disgrace from Tottenham. And an absolute disgrace to people that I see comparing people like Romero and Van de Ven to the likes of Gabriel and Saliba, which are the best centre-back pairing in the world. Absolutely shambolic. How could you ever compare someone like Van de Ven to a Gabriel? Nothing. There's no even competition.
Again, I think this is biased. I think Van de Ven is a top quality centre-back. I would agree that in terms of achievement, perhaps Gabriel is ahead. But actually, I think Van de Ven's ability to defend, the way his recovery pace, his IQ during the game is very impressive. And actually, let's not forget one thing. Spurs have got a leaky midfield. So this guy, Van de Ven, he's got a lot of pressure on him. Let's not forget that Arsenal have got a brilliant midfield. When your team does brilliantly, as a defender, you are pretty much in heaven. But when you are in Spurs, when your midfield is not working, when Bissouma is not doing his job properly, Van de Ven, his role is really difficult. So I would kind of step in here for Van de Ven a little bit. It is quite difficult for him. But as I said, I agree with you that Spurs still no trophies. They do need to do something.
Indeed, they do.
And now we move on to the big game. It is Aston Villa and Arsenal. Arteta's redemption, 2-0 at Villa Park. Arsenal fan, what do you have to say?
Well, I was watching this game, and to be honest, I was quite critical at some parts because there was some mistakes from Gabriel, some mistakes in the midfield, some mistakes from Saka at some points, and some mistakes for Havertz. But look, the main thing that I thought, and I think everyone's going to agree with me here, is why is Martinelli starting? This is absolutely atrocious. When we have such a talent like Trossard in the wings, he should start and he should do what he does best. I've seen people say, look, Martinelli tires people out and then Trossard comes on for the finishing shot, but I don't think that's how football works. But look, absolutely beautiful performance from Arsenal. Villa never had a chance. Look, after last season, we're not going to spare them. We are taking no chances. We are going game by game. We are killing target by target. We are squashing the bugs in the Premier League. And look, that title is ours.
Look, this is indeed a statement win. Because if we think about it, this is more than just a game. Unai Emery, former manager of Arsenal. There's a bit of a kind of, I don't think it's really a rivalry, but it's almost like Emery versus Arteta. Arteta replaced Emery. And Emery beat you guys twice, home and away last season. So obviously, there's kind of that personal pain as an Arsenal fan that you lost out the league because of that game at the Emirates when obviously Aston Villa beat you 2-0. And that was a very tough game. We talked about last time you had the Champions League pressure, but now you've gone and you've beaten Villa. Ollie Watkins missing some crucial chances. I actually remember you texted me right before the goal saying that, we're doing terribly, what is going on? But then you scored the goal. And I think that really summarizes Arsenal. You guys have really become a top quality Premier League team, a proper title challenging team. You can have a bad 60 minutes, but then on come the right players. On come the players like Trossard and they change the game.
Exactly. And also we can't forget the man of the match at that game, David Raya. An absolutely masterclass performance. A world-class save. A save that might not even be replicated ever. An absolutely splendid, beautiful, marvellous save. You have to agree here, Mr. Tima Baller.
I would agree. I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the game live, but yes, it was indeed some top quality saves from the Spanish international David Raya. But look, I'm going to tell you this, right, Arsenal fans. When you're in a title race, you will not always play well. But do you know what makes a team win the title? Is when you play poorly and you turn things around.
Exactly.
You think Man City played well all of last season? No. There are games when you do poorly.
They never played well.
All right. You're losing 1-0. It's a tough game. But you need to be able to turn things around. When we won the league as well, you've got to have that mentality of going in and winning. Even if things are not going your way. Your gaffer needs to be able to turn that game around. And actually, I think what let you down, not last season, but even the season before, is that inability to turn those tough games into wins. Like you meet someone like Fulham, difficulties, lost the game. Meet West Ham, difficulties, lost the game. But now look at that. You're playing Aston Villa, away from home. The pressure's on. The team is strong. Unai Emery, proven manager, 4 Europa Leagues. And guess what Arsenal do? They make the correct substitutions, change the game, 2-0 victory. And you are now 6 points out of 6.
Exactly. And Aston Villa, top 4 challengers in 12th place, where they belong and where they will stay.
No, I disagree. I think, in my opinion, this whole debate of Emery and Arteta being settled today is ridiculous. In my opinion, Unai Emery is still clear of Arsenal. He's still clear of Arteta. And with all due respect, he's got 4 Europa Leagues. This is a proven European manager who has won silverware at the top level. And I think Arteta is a sensational manager whose ceiling is above Emery's. I think if Arteta wins the Premier League, that achievement will go into history books. Being able to beat Man City in their current condition, given the financial implications. So if Arteta can actually do this, this will be a major achievement in Arsenal's history. So yeah, congrats to you Arsenal fans. You indeed deserved it.
I completely disagree. Unai Emery is nothing of a manager that Arteta is, just simply on the managerial side. It doesn't matter what he's won. Arteta's won the Community Shield, the Emirates Cup as well. What a great achievement. But look, Arteta is a better manager because he actually manages. He makes the players. He gets them to training. He does everything that they need to happen. And he does everything behind the scenes to make stuff happen. And for Arsenal to win games such as against Villa, such as against Liverpool, and such as against Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, Arteta, phenomenal manager. But now moving on to Bournemouth, Newcastle, that was a draw. Very controversial VAR ending. But let's now move on to the very exciting bit. Chelsea beating Wolves 6-2 away. Chelsea fan, what are your thoughts? What a victory.
I think it was amazing performance from all the Chelsea players, especially Madueke. This is what happens when we keep our players and don't sell them and don't buy new players. We need to keep the players that are talented and keep training them up. And I like that I'm seeing more people are getting subbed off, especially the strikers. I'm happy to see Jackson performing better than he was performing last season, scoring goals. Cole Palmer, of course, absolute legend, scoring not just penalties but actual genuine goals. And yeah, the great performance from the whole team. I'd say the only thing I'd criticize is the midfield performance. Obviously, Fernandes kind of looking a bit dodgy. Caicedo. Personally, I don't think that was one of the better investments from last season. I think we could have maybe saved that money. 115 mil is a lot for a player.
It is a lot of money.
Who's not performing as well as he could be. But yeah, other than that, very good performance from players that I think we've kind of cultivated from last season.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And personally, I was very skeptical going to the season. In my first episode, I said I question Enzo Maresca. I question his accreditations as a manager. I just don't really think he has what it takes to manage a top club. Of course, I might be proven wrong. He might have excellent potential and do very well, but this win is phenomenal. But I still stand by my original idea that Chelsea will have a season where they will sometimes go win big and the things will work. They'll score plenty of goals because scoring goals will never be a major problem for Chelsea. They have a lot of talent.
They have a lot of chances as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like this season we're actually taking those chances. A 6-2 victory from at the very beginning of the season is pretty impressive compared to our last year's performance. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I would also say is if you can keep the consistency, I definitely think Chelsea will challenge for top four. But it's just a question of consistency, and that's been Chelsea's problem last year. You've had some of these top performances. You had these. Do you remember that win where you beat Everton? You scored 6 goals, and I think that's what I mean by consistency. Is being able to do it every time.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add on to that consistency bit. We're seeing more players such as Madueke and Cole Palmer and some of these new investments that we had from last season performing more consistently. And I feel like from the pathway that we're taking, it doesn't really matter if we have Maresca or Poch or whatever. I feel like right now it all comes down to the players and their chemistry and how much they've learned over the time period and how much they bonded together. So I feel like the lineup that we have right now is looking good. It could be better, but I think it's going to be way better than last season.
Well, look, as I said to Mr. Tima Baller before the season started, I think, personally, Chelsea could even outdo Liverpool. Because, look, there's been a lot of flaws in Liverpool's management, such as Arne Slot, and a lot of unhappy reactions with Trent and maybe Mo Salah as well. But look, I've seen Chelsea, look, if they get Victor Osimhen, which would be a very good addition, look, they have Felix, Victor Osimhen, Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, Madueke. I think that could really challenge Liverpool. But of course, they won't even get anywhere close to Arsenal. But look, I predict that Chelsea will do a lot better than what people say. And maybe, not even maybe, I'm pretty confident that they will outdo the Scousers in this season and in this title race.
They got the players to be able to do it. They
Of
got
course.
the players. They just need to put in that work. Maybe work on the midfield,
Yeah.
and we'll be good.
I think the management as well was a bit shaky when your club director walked out 20 minutes into the game. That might have been a bit shaky. But look, I've seen some flaws on the Liverpool side as well. And just to segue into that statement, Liverpool versus Brentford, Mr. Tima Baller was a live attendee at this game. Mr. Tima Baller, I'll hand over to you. How was the atmosphere at the Anfield, and how was the crowd, and how was seeing your beloved Scousers in action?
Look, it was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It really was a great game. And actually, speaking of this apparent flaws in Arne Slot's management, I don't understand what these flaws are. What I saw is we controlled the game. The passing was excellent. The midfield works brilliantly. I think the way Gravenberch has stepped into this new role is phenomenal. I also think that overall the defense was excellent. Like that game, I remember Kanate making some great challenges. I saw the Diaz goal right up close. I was sitting on the Sir Kenny Dalglish stand, so I got to see all the action right in front of me. I was sitting on the quite close to the pitch as well, so I saw the Diaz goal really up close. And what a goal, Luis Diaz! He's got some people questioning him, but what a brilliant goal that was. And yet, I think that Chelsea nowhere near Liverpool, in my opinion, because we've got a team that works. We've got a team of Champions League, Premier League winners, World Cup winners in McAllister, top quality talents. I mean, just look at the fact that so many of our players are captains for the national teams. Mo Salah, Dominic Szoboszlai, Virgil van Dijk, Andrew Robertson. It really tells you the class levels. And Slot's management has been brilliant. Substitutions, game management, killing the game, passing, top. Simply top.
Well, look, of course the signings of Liverpool have been a bit of a shaky subject right here, but
Actually, today we signed Federico Chiesa for 13 million euros. I think that is summer signing of the season. We got a player who at one point was valued at 100 million pounds. He's now been signed for 13 million euros. For your reference, we sold Bobby Clark for 10 million pounds. We are signing Chiesa for the almost exact same amount.
well, look at this. Talking about signings, we have a very new sort of signing news coming in as we speak. Darwin Núñez to Arsenal Football Club.
That has been that I've listened about this. Apparently, it's not true. That is not happening. I've got no idea where you Arsenal fans get your information. They're as unreliable as ever.
Look,
There's many sources flying around, especially in the
Rumours.
start of the season, near the end of summer transfer season. Something as big as this is probably unlikely to occur.
well, look, Chelsea said the same thing about Kai Havertz, and we turned him into a revolutionary player. And I've seen a lot of Liverpool people talking bad about your main man, Darwin Núñez, and it's what Arteta does. He takes these rejected, disgraced players and he turns them into world-class strikers, such as Kai Havertz, an absolute stunner on the pitch, an absolutely phenomenal player.
As much as I agree with Arteta's ability to turn players who have underperformed into top talents. I mean, we can talk about Martin Odegaard, who came from Real Madrid and then came to Arsenal, and what a massive uplift in his career. To go from being a sidelined Real Madrid player to being a captain of Arsenal Football Club, scoring goals, and actually being almost one of the best players in the Premier League. Some massive achievement to him and to Arteta, but nonetheless, the Nunez rumours are completely false, because simply put, Arne Slot has come out there and said he wants to work with Darwin Nunez. He's not up for sale. We bought him for £85 million. So unless you're willing to offer us at least £90 million, which you will not, you haven't got the money for it. So even if you hypothetically had those funds, still, I don't think that'll be a good signing. He's not worth £90 million. I think he's got a lot of potential. I mean, look, Liverpool fans love Darwin Nunez. Among the Liverpool fan base community, there's a lot of defense for him. Liverpool fans love him. Rival fans make fun of him. But a lot of Liverpool fans truly do admire him, because we know that he could be that 30 goal a season striker. We know that he has phenomenal ability. His hold-up play, his passing, his run-ins. I know he's a massive frustration. He's both a genius and the most frustrating watch ever. Go back to that Newcastle game. We're down to 10 men. St. James Park, losing 1-0. On comes Darwin Nunez, 2 goals, we win the game. Bournemouth game, in the cup, again, Darwin Nunez scores the winner. Nottingham Forest scores the winner. I mean, look, this man is the definition of an impact player. When he's firing, this guy is elite.
But you can't forget the famous 4 crossbars in one game. That was a very shocking performance.
We cannot forget
a lot of times he's sniped crowd members, sniped a couple people from the crowd as well.
That is actually true. Very, very interesting. I mean, look, maybe when he does miss, sometimes maybe he's going for better targets. Maybe he's actually trying to hit the crossbar to set new records. Of course, Darwizi is a exceptional person. He does very interesting things. Obviously, we know he's now got a 5-game international ban for jumping into the stands and starting a fight with the Colombian fans. But to be fair, I'm actually I'm with him on this one. Apparently, his family was being attacked. So what does this man do? No bodyguards, takes his top off, jumps into the stands, and starts getting into a fight. Typical Darwin Nunez, isn't it?
Indeed. He seems like he'll be very suited, and we're very welcome at the Arsenal Football Club. So, Darwin, if you're listening to this, our doors are open anytime.
If Darwin is listening to this, of course, that'd be phenomenal. If he gave us a shout out to Tima and Emin and Maxime. I mean, imagine Darwin Nunez shouting us out on the channel. Honestly, any real football players, if you're listening to this podcast, love to bring you on here. We're giving a great interview.
Of course.
From the greatest interviewer of all time, Emin Baller. I mean, this man is a professional interviewer.
Indeed, I am. What can I say? Any football players, maybe likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. Who else? Anyone? Cole Palmer is welcome as well. We'll show you. We'll treat you right.
Yeah, absolutely so. Well, thank you so much for listening. We have finished our wrap-up of the Premier League. Thank you, Emin, Arsenal fan, and Maxime, Chelsea fan, for coming on. And yeah, guys, what are your final conclusions?
Thank you for having me. This was a very interesting conversation.
Well, it's been great, Mr. Tima Baller. What can I say? Shout out to all the international fans across the world. Shout out to everyone listening from their house, whatever you're doing, sleeping, in your bed, at your table, doing anything you want, sleeping, on your phone, It's been a good one. See you next time. And, another 3 points for Arsenal in the next match week.
Indeed. Thank you everyone for listening, and see you next time.